Hey everybody, Bones here, Bones Garage, bringing you an update what's going on at the garage. So, 1973 Cadillac Calais. This is her motor. This is the 472 cubic inch motor for that car. And we now have everything apart, and the motor is actually flipped upside down. This is the bottom side of the motor where the oil pan would sit. This is the top side of the motor where the manifold and carburetor would sit. These are the decks. This is where the head sits on, and the other head sits over there. And what we're looking at right now is this is the camshaft, this is the crankshaft, this is your timing chain right here, and this is your cam timing timing gear and your crank timing gear. These cars came with a nylon timing chain gear, and the reason they did that was it was quieter. So they wanted to quiet the motor down to make it a more luxurious ride. Well, the problem is, as time goes, the nylon dries out and starts cracking and then actually falls off of the metal gear. And then you get all this inside your pan and everything gets destroyed because of it. Another problem that we have is age. 110,000 miles, and there's how much play we have in this timing chain. Now this timing chain, if you look on this side here, that's how taut it should be. It should not have that much deflection in it, and you can see how much deflection is in there. So that's no good. Another thing that you'll notice that's no good, if you look down here, see how the timing chain's falling off of the gear? That's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be tight onto that gear. It's supposed to sit just like that on that gear. And you can see how stretched it is, that it's not sitting nicely in the gear. And the same thing up here. If you look at this part of the timing chain, you'll see how far out the timing chain is from the gear right there. So this timing chain is definitely worn, definitely done. The cam gear for the timing chain is done, and like I said, you can see all the cracks in here, all the cracks in these nylon teeth. That was just about to let go and give me huge problems. Then if we come up here, this is our crankshaft here. That's one of the counterbalance. That's another. Those are your connecting rods that are connected to the crankshaft, which go to the piston. So that's your connecting rod. Right there is your piston, and that's your cylinder wall right there. So all the way down there is your cylinder wall, and if you look closely, you can see the cross hatching in the cylinder wall. Now this motor again has 110,000 plus miles on it, and you can still see the cross hatching in that cylinder, which is really good. This motor was well taken care of, and Cadillac bottom ends are pretty damn tough. That's the bottom of the skirt for the piston, and you can see how nice that skirt looks. No wear on it, no bad things on it, nothing. It looks really good. And then if you look all the way over there, that is the bottom side of the camshaft. And that also looks very good. Very little wear in that. I'm still replacing it because I'm going with a little bit heavier cam, or bigger cam, give it a little more power. This is another piston, and again, you can see how nice that piston looks. That's the bottom of the piston. So that's your connecting rod. This is the connecting rod cap. Those are the bolts. That's the connecting rod. That's your wrist pin that connects the rod to the piston, and that's your piston. So there you go, a little bit of show on the bottom side of the motor, and that is your oil pickup. It goes right through here into the block, and then this is where your oil pump mounts to. So, and you can see how nice where the gears actually sit and rotate, how nice that looks. And this is the oil pump right here. That is your oil pump right there. So as the cam turns, it turns this shaft and it turns those gears, and then the gears compress the oil into the pump and then into the motor through here, which your oil filter is attached to, and then comes out these holes. So this way it goes to the motor. And that's how that works. That's your oil pump. So yeah, this motor's in really good condition. Give me a second, I'll turn the motor over and I'll show you the top side of it. Hang on, be right back. Alright, so I got the motor turned over, and you can see that's the way the motor would be sitting in the car, because these are your motor mounts right here and right here. Those are your motor mounts. Those would sit on the frame, and that's the way the motor would sit in the car. And you can see there's the cam and the gears, and you can see how much play is in that timing chain. And again, that converts over when the distributor is sitting in there to around 6-7 degrees of play. So that makes a huge difference. And then here's our pistons, and you can see how nice those pistons look, the tops, nice and clean. Yes, there is a little bit of oil and stuff. It's just from the drip, and when you take the heads off, fluid gets in there because the heads have the water flowing through them and all, and they also have oil flowing through them. And there you go, there's the other side. And if you look closely, we have no considerable lip here. There is no lip here. So that's the end of the travel for the piston. And you can still see how nice these cylinders look. So everything's looking good with this motor. Yeah, that's a mess. I'll clean all that up. It's got a lot of oil in it, and it's just older. But it is in very good condition, this motor. So we're going to keep going. There's all the parts for the motor. So there's my transmission. There's the distributor cap. That's the distributor. That's the water pump. That's the cruise control servo. Fuel pump right there. Valve covers. Crossover for the air pump for the EGR system. Oil pump. Air pump here. Alternator. Water pump pulley. These are your crankshaft pulleys. Intake manifold. Rockers. Pedestals, and the push rods right there. This is the oil slinger. It goes on the end of the crankshaft. This is what holds the crankshaft pulleys in place on the bottom side of the crankshaft. These are all my head bolts right there that hold the head on. This is the kick up for the air condition. This is the kick up for the air conditioning on the car. So when you turn your air conditioning on, it pushes the gas pedal up a little bit and brings the idle a little higher. That's the distributor right there. That's the timing cover. And yeah, that's about what we got so far. So I'll bring you update as we go. I'll talk to you in a little bit, guys. Have fun. Okay, bye.